There is likely a person in your life who everyone calls the kindest soul they know. They volunteer for every committee, they remember every birthday, they show up at your door with a hot bowl of soup. Yet you are the only one in the room who feels like you cannot breathe around them. This person makes you feel as though you are losing your mind, because from the outside, their behavior looks like love. It makes you feel like you are the one who is failing to be grateful. Psychologists called this specific experience communal narcissism. It has a research trail going back over a decade, explaining exactly why that kindness feels like it is actually a cage. While a standard narcissist demands admiration for power or status, the communal narcissist wants the same superiority. They simply use a different door. They get their validation by being seen as the most caring, morally elevated person in the room. When you understand the goal, the behavior looks like a calculated strategy. The danger is hidden within the disguise. This form of abuse borrows the costume of society's most admired traits, helpfulness and concern, which makes it nearly impossible for others to see. In 2012, researcher Jochen Gebauer at Humboldt University put real numbers to this pattern by building the Communal Narcissism Inventory. This data reveals a massive disconnect. These individuals see themselves as towering above average in warmth and benevolence, but when Gebauer asked the people actually close to them to rate them on those same traits, the scores were exceptionally low. Their generosity tracks the presence of an audience rather than the presence of a need. When the audience disappears, the help stops. They prioritize visible action over private support. Once they have built that public reputation, the transaction begins. Communal narcissists do not give gifts. They issue loans. Every favor is a down payment on a debt you did not know you were signing for. The bill arrives the moment you attempt to set a boundary or express an independent opinion. Suddenly, the sentence changes to, "After everything I have done for you." This is a contract being enforced. The kindness functions as a mechanism to ensure you stay in your place and continue to provide the validation they require. A 2023 study in Frontiers in Psychiatry challenges the belief that narcissists simply lack empathy. The reality is more disturbing. They lack affective empathy, the part that lets you feel another person's pain. But they have highly developed cognitive empathy. This is the intellectual ability to read a face, a tone, or a flicker of vulnerability. They use this ability as a hunting tool to find emotional levers. In moments where a normal person would feel distress, they experience affective dissonance, a quiet satisfaction or a faint amusement at being needed. The disguise eventually slips when they achieve a position of authority or a locked-in relationship. The benevolent volunteer who reaches the head of the committee suddenly becomes harsh and vindictive toward the same people they once helped. The partner who built their identity on being the supportive one becomes cold and demanding. Their personality has not changed, the audience has. When kindness is no longer the most efficient route to status, the cost of the performance is no longer worth it. The toll of this abuse is that you begin doubting your own perception. You spend years defending them to others, telling yourself they have a good heart, because the historical warmth you remember felt real. That warmth felt real because you received it with sincerity. It was never a sincere gift from them. It was a transaction with a delivery schedule. Your honesty was real, even if their performance was not. You can identify the pattern by watching what happens when you say no. A real kindness can survive a refusal without seeking revenge. Weaponized kindness curdles into coldness the second you set a limit. Listen for a recurring story in their past. If every breakup and every failed friendship ends with them being the wounded, generous party betrayed by someone they tried to help, you are looking at a fingerprint of this behavior. Pay attention to the mismatch between their public virtue and their private conduct. People who film their goodness for a feed are often the coldest to the actual humans living right next to them. Escaping this doesn't require you to convince the public or stage a dramatic confrontation. It requires you to change how you process the abuser's actions internally. Liberation comes from trusting your own nervous system over the social consensus. Start reading their kindness as data about what they want from you, rather than evidence of who they are.